As New York remains divided over housing for the migrants with hard pushback from both sides, large-scale humanitarian relief efforts continue. And joining us tonight is Murad Awawdeh. He is the executive director of the New York Immigration Coalition. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thanks so much for having me.
So this is the work that you do each and every day, an immigrant rights advocate. So tell us, what has it been like trying to work through the backlash that we're seeing from, it seems like, every neighborhood of the city and now the Hudson Valley?
Well, first, thank you for having me on tonight and for always having us on. The New York Immigration Coalition is 35 years old. We just finished celebrating our 35th anniversary. And we know that there are more welcoming areas of the state than there are who are, in this moment being problematic. But, I think that this is a bigger issue than what we've been describing it as over the past couple of months, which we've seen more folks arriving, but also less services and supports being administered to people. And at the same time, before COVID happened, we were seeing folks struggling here in the state of New York. So it's kind of like a lot happening at the same time. We're dealing with an affordability crisis, a housing crisis, and humanitarian need that's arisen over the past year. And we just want to continue to support our newest New Yorkers and make sure that everyone has the support that they need, not only to survive here, but to thrive here, regardless if they've been here for 50 years or for 5 days.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked to leaders in the Hudson Valley, and although they say that they want to help, they say really at the end of the day, this is the city's problem. What are they telling you?
We've had really great partners. The New York Immigration Coalition is a statewide organization. We have members actually in the town of Newburgh as well as the city of Newburgh, which are right next door to each other. They rally to welcome folks who were sent to the hotel there. And we've worked with local legislators as well. Folks who actually came out and welcomed people as well to make sure that they were welcomed with dignity and respect. People are in this moment understanding that this is a bigger issue than New York City can actually deal with on its own, and they're welcoming areas. We know that people have been coming to New York for centuries and really making New York and New York City a much better place. Immigrants and refugees are part and parcel of the social and cultural fabric of what makes us as a city and a state great. And we want to continue that tradition and supporting people, like anyone else would want support when they need a little bit of help to get back on their feet.
Yeah, when we talked to the mayor in September, he said that the shelter was near a breaking point. Now he's saying that this is essentially a humanitarian crisis. It seems like not much has changed in the last 8 months. How can, if nothing really has changed in the last 8 months except the problem getting worse, what are we to expect for the next 8 months?
We've had a broken shelter system as well as an affordability crisis we've been dealing with for a pretty long time at this point. And the shelter system in itself was at a breaking point years ago. It actually got worse this past January, in January of 2022, when the eviction moratorium ended and people started actually going through the eviction process, and we saw a lot more people being evicted. This is before asylum seekers were going into the shelter system. So we've always had a really tough area within the shelter system and getting people out of the shelter system. And that's what we've been advocating for to this administration, is help people get out of the emergency shelter system and into permanent housing as quickly as possible. And you're right, we've been dealing with this issue for over a year now, not 8 months, over a year. And to not have a coordinated and comprehensive plan that's actually being implemented is kind of distressing a little bit, but also this is not an emergent moment anymore. We've been having folks come to New York for a while now in this recent increase in asylum seekers coming to New York City, but we've welcomed migrants and asylum seekers for decades here. So this should not be a new issue. This is just a moment where we have to put our heads together and actually power through on a coordinated plan.
All right, Murad, we'll leave it there for tonight. Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.